You cannot change your destination overnight, but can change your direction. Now that is a powerful thought. And let me tell you something. Most people will never take that thought seriously. They'll hear it, they'll nod their heads, but they won't act on it. They wait. They hope. They wish for better days, but they keep doing the same old things, year after year. But what if I told you you're just 7 days away from a new beginning? Not perfection, not overnight success, but a fresh direction, one that leads you to something better, much better. Now listen carefully. Change doesn't start with the calendar. It starts with your decision. One decision. 1 week, 7 days to challenge yourself, to shake off the dust, to rethink your habits, to step into the person you were meant to become. And no, I'm not talking about a casual attempt. This isn't one of those try it for a day and forget it by Tuesday types of plans. I'm talking about a serious, focused, intentional challenge. The kind that wakes you up. The kind that forces you to grow. The kind that changes how you walk, how you talk, and how you live. Let me say it plainly. If you can commit to 7 days, you can begin the process of changing your life. That's all we're asking. 7 days of discipline. 7 days of focus. 7 days of truth. And if you stay with me, I'll walk you through each one. Now, this isn't based on hype. This isn't about motivational fluff or empty slogans. This is about principle. This is about personal philosophy. This is about values that build character and character that builds destiny. So before we start the challenge, let me ask you this. Are you tired of waiting for change? Are you ready to be the change? Because if the answer is yes, then let's begin. Let's go to day 1B, where the journey of self-transformation truly begins. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. The next 7 days, they're not just a challenge, they're your invitation to become better. Are you ready? Everything changes when you decide. And now let's pause on that thought for just a moment. Not when you wish, not when you hope, and even when you try. When you decide. That's when life begins to shift. You see, most people, they don't really decide. They dabble. They toy with the idea of change. They talk about improvement. But deep down, they're still waiting for something outside to change before they make the move. But here's the truth. Life doesn't respond to your hopes. Life responds to your decisions. A decision is a line in the sand. It's when you say, I've had enough. No more of the old. From this moment forward, I go a new way. That kind of decision. It doesn't require permission. It doesn't wait for the perfect time. It doesn't ask, what if it doesn't work? It simply says, let's go. Now maybe you're sitting there thinking, I've made decisions before, but I always fall back. A yes, but maybe they weren't real decisions. Maybe they were just strong intentions. You see, a true decision is backed by resolve, and resolve is when your desire becomes stronger than your excuses. Let me tell you a little story. I once met a young man who told me he wanted to change his life. He was tired of being broke, tired of waking up late, tired of feeling stuck. So I asked him, when did you decide? And he said, I haven't yet, but I'm thinking about it. Now, isn't that interesting? He was tired, but not tired enough. He was uncomfortable, but not ready to leave the old behind. And that's the trap. Change never comes to the one who is just thinking about it. Change comes to the one who decides. With urgency, with clarity, with no turning back. Here's a principle I want you to write down today. It's not what happens that changes your life. It's what you decide to do about what happens. Let me give you an example. Two people lose their job. Same day, same position. One complains, blames the economy, and waits for another handout. The other decides to sharpen their skills, wake up earlier, start a business, and never be that vulnerable again. Same event, different decision, different life. You see, life is a series of decisions, and those decisions shape your direction, and direction determines your destiny. Now here's the powerful part. You don't have to wait a year to change your life. You don't even have to wait a month. You can begin today with a decision to stop lying to yourself, a decision to stop waiting for the right mood, a decision to stop blaming the past, the government, the weather, your parents, or your phone, and start doing what you know you need to do. Now, I'm not saying change is easy, but it is possible. And it starts with deciding that your future is more important than your comfort. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just make a decision to change your direction. That's what day one is all about. Not perfect results, just a new direction. Your action for today, I want you to take out a notebook and I want you to write one sentence. Just one. It should say, I have decided to become the kind of person hog. You fill in the blank. Maybe it's, I have decided to become the kind of person who gets up at 5 a.m. I have decided to be the kind of person who takes care of my body. I have decided to become the kind of person who doesn't break promises to myself. And now don't write what sounds good. Write what's real. Write what you're ready to back with action. Because remember, one strong decision can change the course of your year. And a handful of strong decisions can change the course of your life. So let me ask you again, what will you decide today? Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Because today is day one. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That line changed my life. When I first heard it, I didn't quite understand it. But the more I lived, the more I saw the truth of it. You see, jobs can come and go. Titles can fade. Opportunities can dry up. But the person you become, that's permanent. That's yours to keep. So let's talk today about a concept most people missing. Self-development is the foundation of all achievement. Let me say it another way. If you grow, everything in your life can grow. If you shrink, everything around you starts to shrink. Your income rarely exceeds your personal development. Your relationships don't rise above your emotional maturity. Your health doesn't stay strong without intentional care. So today's challenge is simple. Work harder on yourself every single day, because you are the project, not the business, not the market, not the industry, you. Now, most people, they want more money. They want more opportunity. They want more recognition. But they forget, you attract success by the person you become. That's the principle. Success is something you attract by becoming attractive internally. Better character, stronger mindset, greater discipline, wiser choices. Now let me tell you what I've learned. The hard way is often the best way. And the best way is almost the inner way. Working on yourself means you get honest. It means you stop pretending. It means you face the mirror and say, I need to improve. And not because you're not worthy, but because you are. Because you were meant to do something great. And greatness isn't handed out. It's earned in silence. When nobody's watching, that's when you build the real you. I'll tell you something else. People often say, I just want to be more confident. But confidence doesn't come from reading quotes. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. It comes from doing the hard thing when you don't feel like it. It comes from saying, I will, and then actually doing it over and over. You don't build a strong self-image in a day. You build it in the quiet moments when you choose growth over comfort. Let me give you an example. Let's say you commit to waking up an hour earlier each morning. Day one, your alarm rings and you're tired, but you get up anyway. You fight the old self. You fight the old story, and you win. That's not just a small victory. That's you telling you that the new path has begun. Do it again tomorrow. That's 2 bricks in the foundation. A week. Now you're not just doing it. You're becoming someone new. And here's what I know. The deeper you go in working on yourself, the higher you can rise in everything else. It shows up in how you talk. It shows up in how you walk. It shows up in how you treat people. And eventually it shows up in your bank account, your body, and your relationships. People say they want to be successful. But the real question is, are you willing to outgrow the version of yourself that's holding you back? Because that's the real work. Not just skill, not just talent, character, integrity, discipline, hunger. Those things aren't built in the world. They're built in the soul. You work harder on your job, you make a living. You work harder on yourself, you make a fortune. Not just financial fortune, but emotional wealth, mental peace, and a life that means something. So here's your assignment for today. Take inventory. Look at your daily habits. Look at your attitude, look at your language, your toe energy, your effort, and ask the hard question, if I keep doing what I'm doing, who am I becoming? If the answer excites you, keep going. If the answer worries you, change it now. No one's coming to do it for you. This is your work. This is your challenge. And this is your day. So remember, the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. And if you don't like what's showing up outside, it's time to work harder on what's happening inside. Start today. Not next week. Today. Because today is day 2. Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you fight for. Now let's pause there. Because that's a heavy statement. Most people miss it. They think wanting something is enough. But life isn't moved by wishes. It's moved by will. It's moved by effort. If you want something in life, really want it, you have to be willing to fight for it. Not physically, no, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's where the real battle begins. And that's what today is about. This is day 3 of the challenge. The halfway mark is coming. And by now, the excitement of the beginning, it's probably wearing off. Reality is setting in. The discomfort of change, the resistance of old habits, the temptation to go back to the old routine, that's normal. That's expected. Because the old you, it doesn't want to die quietly. The lazy you, the fearful you, the procrastinating you, they're still fighting to hold their place. But now, it's time to fight back, and not just with words, with actions. Let me remind you of something. Success doesn't come to those who are interested. It comes to those who are committed. So I ask you again, what do you really want? Not what you're supposed to want. Not what sounds good on a vision board. Not what will impress others. What lights a fire in your soul? Because when you get clear on that, you tap into a different kind of energy. When the dream is real, you'll wake up early for it. You'll stay up late for it. You'll skip the party, turn off the distractions, and do the work. Because now, you're not just existing, you're fighting. Why fighting is necessary? People avoid the word fight. They think it sounds aggressive, too intense. But let me tell you something, everything worthwhile is uphill. It doesn't come by accident. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't drift into discipline. You decide on it. And once you decide it, you'll have to defend that decision every day. Because life is full of opposition. People will doubt you. Old habits will tempt you. Distractions will scream for your attention. But champions don't flinch. Champions don't fold. They fight, they fatigue, they fight fear, they fight failure. Because they know it's part of the journey. And let me say this, if you're not willing to fight for it, maybe you don't want it badly enough. Now I know that might sting. But sometimes we need the sting. We need to be shaken awake from our slumber of average. Because the truth is, it's easy to say, I want a better life. It's easy to say, I want to be wealthy, fit, confident, fulfilled. But are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to work when no one's watching? To learn when others are wasting time? To keep going when you feel like quitting? That's the fight. And you don't win it once. You win it daily. Let's make it practical. 1. Set a clear target. You can't fight without a purpose. You need to know what you're aiming for. So write it down. Again, not a vague wish, but a sharp, focused goal. I want to lose 20 pounds by July 1st. I want to launch my business before the end of the year. I want to save $10,000 in 6 months. The more clear the target, the more fierce the focus. 2. Identify your enemies, not people, but patterns. What's stealing your time? What's stealing your confidence? What's holding you back? Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's a belief that says, I'll never be good enough. Whatever it is, name it. Face it. 3, build a daily weapon. You don't win the war with one big effort. You win it by small victories every day. So create your system. Wake up earlier. Exercise. Plan. Review. Execute. 1 hour of focused effort a day is worth more than 10 hours of wandering. That's how you fight smart. Let me tell you what happens when you fight. You change. Not just your life, but you become more confident, more courageous, more committed, because you start to see progress. And progress builds pride, not the arrogant kind, but the kind that says, I kept my word to myself. That's rare. That's valuable. That's powerful. Because the moment you prove to yourself that you can change it, you never go back to being a victim again. Your challenge today, so here it is, you'll write down the O&E thing you're fighting for right now. Be specific. Be bold. List the top 3 things standing in your way. Be honest. Don't sugarcoat it. Take one uncomfortable action today to prove you're serious. Something that stretches you. Something that scares you. And when it's hard, good. That means you're on the right track. Remember, you don't get what you wish for. You get what you work for, what you sweat for, what you bleed for. And most importantly, what you never stop fighting for. This is day 3. Today, the old you wants to show up. Today, the excuses are loud, but you know what to do. You fight, and you keep fighting until your life looks like the one you dreamed. Because it's not over until you win. Let me tell you something most people never learn. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when the job is done. Now, take a breath and think about that. Because far too many people start out with fire in their eyes and dreams in their pockets. But the moment life gets a little rough, the moment results don't show up fast enough, they slow down. They hesitate. They start to question everything. That's when they fall back into old patterns, old routines, old comfort zones. And with that, the dream dies a little more each day. But not you. Not today. This is day 4. And by now, the excitement may have faded. The first few days brought energy, maybe even a little hope. But now you're in the middle of the climb, and it's starting to get real. That's exactly when the average person gives up. When it gets hard, when it gets quiet, when it gets lonely. But you're not here to be average. You're here to change, to grow, to win. And that means you've got to keep running. You've got to keep running when no one's watching. You've got to keep running when the applause disappears. You've got to keep running when every part of you is screaming to stop. Because winning doesn't happen in the first few steps. It happens in the last few laps. The ones where your legs ache, and your lungs burn, and your doubts shout louder than your dreams. That's where champions are made. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they run out of commitment. They stop when they're tired, not when they're finished. Success doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't care if you're in the mood. It only responds to action, to effort, to persistence. And here's the beautiful truth: the moment you push past the pain, when you refuse to quit, something shifts inside of you. You start to feel it. Strength, grit, confidence. You start to realize that you can take more than you thought. You can go further than you believed. You begin to understand that you were never weak. You were just untested. Most people never reach that place. They never break through because they turn back the moment things get uncomfortable. But not you. You were made for more than comfort. You were made for greatness. Right now, the pain you're feeling, it's not punishment, it's preparation. It's molding you, sharpening you, shaping the kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure but rises in the face of it. This is not the time to slow down. This is the time to lean in. Yes, your old habits are still whispering. Yes, the comfort zone still calls. But that's all it is, a whisper, a ghost, a lie dressed in softness. And you have something stronger than that. You have vision. You have purpose. You remember why you started. You remember the life you said you wanted. The change you promised yourself. The person you decided to become. This is where it all gets tested. Because talk is cheap, but discipline, that's real. Showing up when it's hard, that's growth. Pushing through the fog of doubt and fatigue, that's transformation. And the reward, it's not just the goal at the finish line, it's who you become on the way there. A person who doesn't quit, a person who doesn't shrink, a person who keeps running until the mission is complete. Even if the world doesn't notice, you will. And that self-respect you earn, that quiet pride, that's priceless. Nobody can give that to you. You earn it one step at a time. So today, on day 4, I'm not asking you to do the impossible. I'm just asking you to keep going. One more action, one more decision, one more honest effort, and tomorrow you'll be stronger. Not just because of what you did, but because of what you didn't do. You didn't quit. Keep building. Keep growing. Until you win. You can't live a new life with the same old mind. Now that might sound simple, even obvious, but it's one of the great truths most people miss. You see, success isn't just about doing more. It's about becoming more. If you don't upgrade your identity, you'll always sabotage your progress. Every time. Because your results will always match the kind of person you believe yourself to be. That's why some folks try goal after goal, new year after new year, and still fall short. Not because they're lazy, not because they're broken, but because deep down, they still see themselves as the old version. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. Let me say it again. You get what you are. You must become the kind of person who deserves the life you dream of. If you want to be wealthy, become a disciplined steward of your money. If you want to be fit, start thinking like an athlete. If you want success in business, stop playing small and start acting like someone who belongs in the room. It all begins in the mind. Not the mirror, not the bank account, not the applause. In the mind. And today, on day 5, it's time to rewrite the script. No more calling yourself names. No more carrying around the weight of who you used to be. No more shrinking just to fit into the comfort of the past. From today forward, you choose your identity on purpose. You say, I am a disciplined person. You say, I am someone who finishes what I start. You say, I am becoming stronger, sharper, wiser every day. And guess what? Your actions will follow that belief, because behavior flows from identity. Always. Now, it won't feel real at first. You'll say the words before you fully believe them. That's okay. Say them anyway, because you're not affirming your past, you're affirming your future. And if you say it long enough and live it strong enough, you'll wake up one day and realize you've become the person you always knew you could be. That's the power of identity. That's the shift that makes everything else possible. So, write it down. Speak it out loud. Decide who you are. You're not stuck. You're just getting started. This is the day you stop trying to change your life and start changing yourself. And once you do that, the life you want will chase you down. Discipline is the key. The door to success doesn't open with hope, it opens with habit. Now let me say that again, slowly, because this could be the turning point for you. Discipline is the key, not motivation, not inspiration, not a lucky break. Those things might get you started, but only discipline keeps you going. You see, motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel like it, other days not so much. But discipline, that's the muscle. And if you train it, it will carry you when motivation has nothing left to offer. Discipline says, do it anyway. Discipline says, get up early. Discipline says, make the call. Discipline says, read the book, finish the project, skip the excuse. And you build it just like a muscle, one small act at a time. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be consistent. Because the truth is, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you earn a little more trust. You believe in yourself a little more. And that self-belief, that's the foundation of greatness. You see, most people don't lack talent. They lack follow-through. They start strong, but they never stay long. But you're different. You're learning the power of structure. the strength in saying no to distraction, the pride in finishing what you start. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when no one's clapping, even when nobody's watching, even when it feels like nothing is changing, because it is changing. Every decision adds up. Every sacrifice compounds. And one day, the results will catch up with the effort, and the world will call it overnight success. But you'll know better. You'll know it was discipline. So today, decide to master it. Not someday. Not next week. Right now. Even if it's small, do it with excellence. Do it like it matters, because it does. Your future is built by your discipline today. And if you master that there's nothing you can't have, you have the power to change your story. You always have. What does that mean? It means today is the day you stop living according to your past and start living according to your potential. Today is the day you decide that what's ahead of you matters more than what's behind you. The truth is, we often let our past control us. We let the mistakes, the failures, and the regrets define who we are today. We let our history write our future. But that's not how success works. Success isn't about what you've been through. It's about what you choose to do with what you've learned. It's about what you choose to believe today and what actions you take moving forward. The past has no power over you unless you allow it. You can leave behind every failure, every setback, every difficult circumstance, and you can begin again. Right now, I'm asking you to stop looking backward. Stop dragging your old story with you. Stop believing that your past mistakes are a forecast for your future success. You can start fresh. You can rewrite your future. Your future is not determined by where you come from or what you've done. It's determined by where you're going and what you do from this moment forward. You don't need to be defined by your mistakes. You don't need to live under the shadow of your failures. You don't need to live in fear of what might happen. You need to step into the power of the present and from here create a new story. Write a new story about who you are. Write a new story about who you're becoming. You are capable of change. You are capable of greatness. You are capable of more than you've been giving yourself credit for. It all starts today. Right now, in this moment, you deciding this is the beginning of something new. You deciding your next chapter will be filled with growth, strength, with success. The best version of yourself isn't found in the past. It's found in the future you're creating. Your actions, your decisions, your new mindset, they are shaping your future as we speak. So, ask yourself today, who do you want to be tomorrow? And what actions will you take to make that happen? The power to rewrite your future has always been in your hands. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen. Your future is waiting for you.